Hello and welcome everyone. This is Taco Movie Talks, going over the top 3 hour or longer films I've seen. To start the list off, we have Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa. This is the magnum opus of the Samurai King, as I would call him. And that's maybe arguable for some people, but from what I've seen, Akira Kurosawa is pretty much that guy for me because he kind of cemented how well done that type of cinema could be with Seven Samurai, and this was basically like the prototype for what could be followed in that genre or subgenre moving forward. It's probably got the best argument for being the best samurai film of all time list. And coming in second, Kagam Musha. This came at the later end of Akira Kurosawa's career. And I think this is a underrated masterpiece that has probably the best argument to be better than Seven Samurai as the best samurai film. Ran is definitely in the discussion for a lot of people who are deep into Akira Kurosawa for being his best samurai film. Personal preference, Kagam Musha resonated more with me, and partially is just the beautiful color that this movie has. But it's a darker story, and it's just wildly different from Seven Samurai, and is just, it's really, really damn close to being my favorite samurai film. Next, we have Andrei Tarkovsky's Andrei Rublev, and I would argue that this is Tarkovsky's unofficial autobiography, whether it was intentional or not. Rublev struggled with inspiration and willingness to create again in a way that feels deeply personal, whilst creating amazing imagery, as Andrei Tarkovsky has always done. Really cool scenes in this that kind of give you an idea of some strengths that Tarkovsky has really never shown before. And this feels like a magnum opus as well. And just altogether spectacular. Definitely a must watch. It's a classic movie in pretty much every way. Same goes for Seven Samurai. I mean, these movies, even if they weren't in black and white, they just feel like kind of cornerstones of cinema. And I have Andrei Rublev at 3. Number 4 could be slightly biased just on the fact that it came out recently, but I got Oppenheimer in my top 5 because I found it to be probably the best film of the year. Year's not done yet, and we shall see for sure, but right now it's Oppenheimer in a league of its own, and it's paced so well, which is something you'll see a few more times on this list, but for a longer movie, you need that. If you don't pace well, it's going to really, really suck. And if you pace it really well, it's not going to feel like a long movie. It makes the runtime kind of hard to comprehend when it comes to that. And the film makes you feel the full weight of the importance of the moments that it's presenting. Next, we have Fanny and Alexander. So this is a bit of a weird one. I think the condensed version is still over 3 hours. I watched the episodic version of Fanny and Alexander, and this is perhaps the Bergman film to see, as it has a little dose of everything he has mastered over his long career. So if you want to see like who is Ingmar Bergman, the director, this would probably be the film I would direct you towards, because it does show off all of his strengths, which you'll get from The Seventh Seal, you'll get from Persona, you'll get from Autumn Sonata. His distilled versions of particular strengths, but Fanny and Alexander is the melting pot where just everything he's shown excellence in is there. Number 6, we have The Deer Hunter. It takes time to set up properly, but this is a top tier performance from De Niro and also Christopher Walken. It's one of the greatest Vietnam films that spends time showing the effects on the human psyche, and it does so brilliantly. Number 7, we have Barry Lyndon. This is Stanley Kubrick's second longest film, where he is unequivocally at the heights of his powers as a director. This comes, right when he's in his groove, where it's just hit after hit after hit. And you can tell not only that, but that every scene is so meticulously put together to where every shot does really look like a painting. Number 8, we have The Wolf of Wall Street. This is just tremendously paced and one of the funniest films in the last 10 years, while portraying this Jordan Belfort character who is just a seriously interesting lead. And I would put that performance up there as like one of the best. I mean, I think Leo's current performance in Killers of the Flower Moon might just edge it out, but man, Leo as Jordan Belfort was, I think, underrated. I don't think people look at that performance nearly the way they should. It was just energetic, taking everything to 11. It was really good and very memorable for me. Number 9, we have a true masterclass in intertwining narratives, and that is, of course, Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia. It creates interesting characters, and it's done by the director who is like known to do that. Magnolia is another film where a lot of people feel it's PTA's magnum opus. Before we get to number 10, I'm going to go over some honorable mentions. Number 11 is a movie that I kind of talked about a few times, Killers of the Flower Moon. Number 12, Spartacus. Number 13, Avengers Endgame. You can give me guff all you want. This one was, I definitely was a huge fan of Infinity War, and then Endgame I thought was a very solid end to it. These other honorable mentions would have made the list or could have made the list, depending. They just weren't quite over the 3-hour mark. And the first one is The Godfather. And you're probably all wondering, where's part 2? I mean, that would be over 3 hours. Have not seen it yet. I know probably a lot of you are going to put that in your comments as one you recommend, and trust me, I do plan on seeing it in the future. Judgment at Nuremberg, very good drama, legal drama, just a little too short. Beau is Afraid. Look, I do find Hereditary and Midsummer to be better, but I think Beau is Afraid is great. Dogville, Lars von Trier. This is another really unique film. Tough in certain spots for sure, but good. And The Batman, the 2022 Batman. And last but not least, at number 10, we have Qui-Gon. 3 distinct stories keep this feeling very manageable, especially people who do struggle with longer movies. The fact that you can break this into 3 parts makes it definitely an easier to digest film. Very interesting blend of samurai and horror with the third part or the third story is my favorite. Just so spectacular. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know your 3-hour movies, your favorite 3-hour movies rather, down below, and I will catch you on the flippity. Oh, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the flippity flip. Bye, y'all.